1 John 5:5. Who is it that overcomes the world? Only the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God.
Shows us how to live, how to love and how to give. If we learn to obey your voice in all things, you will guide us every day. When I obey, I tell the disobey. Jesus came to make a way. If we learn to obey your voice in all things, you will guide us every day. When I obey, I tell the truth. Like you, when I obey, I do what's right. When I obey, you lift it high. I will obey. Now and always, I will obey. Now and always.
O to the B to the E to the Y.
Yep.
I wanna tell the truth, I don't wanna tell a lie.
Nope.
When I need to make a choice and I don't know what to do, I gotta go deep,
How deep
looking
will
for
you
you.
go?
Listen, that's my voice. Shout it, I rejoice.
Hey!
I'ma respect everybody that I know.
No.
Love and kindness everywhere I go. I know that you love me, and I know that you trust me. You give me lots of space, you give me lots of grace. Now I know just what to do.
What?
Read the Bible, share your word.
Talk about Jesus.
Yeah, you heard.
Yep.
O-B-E-Y
Yep.
spells obey.
Yep.
Now I
Yep.
know it.
Yep.
Now I
Yep.
say.
Obey. Now and always, I will obey. Now and always, yeah, I will obey. And now and always, and I will obey. Yeah, now and always.
Welcome back to week 3 of Challenge Accepted. This whole month, we're learning about Jesus and how he can help us overcome any obstacle we can face in life, just like athletes do in their sports games. I have a question for you. Do you know what being tempted means? Being tempted by something? It's when you strongly want to do something and you know you shouldn't. Like, take the whipped cream out of the fridge and just spray some in your mouth really quickly. Sometimes it can be difficult to follow rules or listen to what our parents are telling us to do, especially when we think we're right or we just really want to do something. Today's Bible story is going to tell us what to do whenever we are tempted to do things our own way instead of God's way. I'm going to show you a quick video, okay, and I want you to notice, what do the kids do in this video?
Okay, sit in that chair. All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow, for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another one, so then you'll have two. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right. I'm gonna go do something and then I'll come back.
It smells yummy. It smells really good.
All right, so it's up to you. You can have it now or you can wait. Okay? You did?
Yeah.
You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So did I tell you to give you another one? Okay, now you can have both. You need them.
It's time for our Bible story. Today we will learn another amazing story about Jesus.
Great.
In this story, Jesus is tempted to do things that were wrong.
What does tempted mean?
Tempted is when we want to do something really bad, but it's not the right thing to do.
Like what?
Maybe take a cookie that your mom told you not to take. You really want to listen, but you really love cookies too.
Oh yes, that happens a lot.
So Jesus was tempted not to eat cookies, but he was in the desert where it was very hot and dry. The desert was covered in sand and rocks.
For how long?
Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, and he didn't have anything to eat. Jesus was tired and also very hungry.
Why didn't he eat something?
Jesus chose to go without food so he could only focus on talking to God.
Oh, I see.
Jesus knew that God was preparing him to do something great, so he needed to get ready. Soon, the devil came along and tried to trick Jesus. The devil is an old enemy of Jesus who kept trying to make Jesus do bad things. First, the devil tried to get Jesus to turn stones into bread. Jesus was really hungry, and he could have done it, but Jesus said no.
Great job, Jesus.
It didn't stop there. Second, the devil took Jesus up to a really high place in the city. The devil tried to tempt Jesus again to jump and make angels catch him. Jesus said no. Jesus knew the devil was trying to trick him, so the devil tried to tempt Jesus a third time. This time, the devil told Jesus that he would give him all sorts of treasures if Jesus would stop obeying God and started obeying the devil.
I know how this ends. Jesus told the devil no.
You got it. After that time, the devil left Jesus alone. And do you remember those angels that the devil tried to get Jesus to call on? They came and took care of Jesus after that.
Because Jesus obeyed God?
That's right. Jesus could have done all the things that the devil told him to do. But Jesus knew that's not what God wanted him to do. So even though he was tired, hungry, and very weak, Jesus said no to the devil and said yes to God.
Don't these Cracker Jacks look delicious? Oh man, they look so good. I love eating these. The only problem is I told myself I'm going to cut out sweets this week. I'm eating too much candy. I'm doing it so I can be healthier. But it's so hard. Look at all these Cracker Jacks in front of me. So all of you have to help me not to be tempted by these Cracker Jacks, all right? Sounds good? Made a deal? Okay. So let's talk about our Bible story today. Our Bible story actually talks about temptation and how Jesus dealt with being tempted. It starts by Jesus being led into the wilderness to be tempted by the ultimate tempter, the devil, who did not want Jesus to overcome this challenge. Jesus fasted for 40 days, as we saw in our Bible story. Fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Does anyone know what fasting is? That's right. It's when you don't eat anything for 40 whole days. Jesus chose to pray and fast so that he could focus on spending time with God with no distractions. But at the end of the 40 days, Jesus was so hungry. And that's when the devil came to Jesus. If I were Jesus and I was that hungry, I might have turned the stones into bread like the devil had told me. Oof. Or maybe I would have turned it into a box of Cracker Jacks. I mean, one won't hurt, right? Right? Oh, no, you're right. I need to be strong. I need to be strong. Jesus had nothing against food, but he said that knowing and obeying God's words were more important. After the devil's first try at tempting Jesus, he took Jesus up to the holy city, and he had Jesus stand at the highest point. The tempter did everything possible to get Jesus to give up or to show off. But once again, Jesus used God's words, the Bible, to resist it. It's like with this box of Cracker Jacks. I could just eat one, right? I mean, look at how tiny they are. That's nothing. It's no big deal. How's it gonna hurt me? So, I'm just gonna eat it, okay? Sounds good? Oh, okay. I hear you. Even if it doesn't seem like a big deal, I will be breaking the promise I made to myself by eating just one of these Cracker Jacks. Well, the temptation didn't stop there. The devil told Jesus to look over everything and offered it all to Jesus. But Jesus did not back down or give in. Jesus spoke God's word back into the tempter and overcame temptation. We are usually tempted by things that look good but are very bad for us. What if someone came up to me and said, if you eat this box of Cracker Jacks, I'll give you an entire Cracker Jack factory? That sounds pretty tempting. But I would be breaking a promise to gain something that I probably shouldn't have, which is more Cracker Jacks. Jesus was strong. Every time the devil tried to tempt Jesus, Jesus responded by using what the Bible says about how we should live our lives. And because Jesus did not give in to the devil's temptation, the devil ran away and angels came to take care of Jesus. I guess I can be strong against the temptation of these Cracker Jacks. I don't need you, Cracker Jacks. You have no power over me. So my friends, I want you to remember that there can be a lot of voices, a lot of people telling us what we should do. But let's remember to always listen to Jesus and turn to the Bible when we may feel tempted by something.
Oh, hey there, little chicken nuggets. Welcome to Grow TV.
Welcome to Grow TV. Hosted by Carl. Where we have fun with our friends, talk about Jesus, and go over everything the Bible has to offer. Now once again, welcome to Grow TV.
Gotta be ready. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Oh, hey there, kiddos. I don't know how much time I have to do Grow TV. I'm training. You see, a super athlete like myself has to constantly train to keep a superhuman physique. Ouch! Drill humors. Anyways, so I know to be the best athlete on the planet, I gotta do whatever it takes. And that means looking at other athletes and doing what they do. So number 1, breathing techniques and mind relaxation. Let's get to it. Calmness is a spirit of relaxation. What are the things that make you relax, Carl? Puppy dogs. The color, neon orange. Grizzly bear droppings. Grizzly bear tickles. Do grizzly bears tickle? I don't know, but I would love to find out one day. I like to think they do. Number 2, flexibility. Every great athlete knows that being flexible will guard you against great injuries. So let's get flexible. Oh, that's actually really tight. Ow!
Carl, are you okay?
Yeah, I think so. Can you help me up? Yeah! Thank you, Cassie.
Sure. So what were you doing on the floor?
Well, I was training.
Training? Training for what?
Well, to become the greatest athlete who ever lived.
Oh, right. Of course. So how's it going?
Can't you see? It's going fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
All right, I'm not quite there, but I still have one more step of training.
Really? What's the last step?
Let me see. Check my phone. Fasting.
Oh, cool.
I've never done it before. Have you?
Once or twice, yeah.
Really? All right. Well, do you mind if I give it a try?
Go ahead.
All righty.
What are you doing?
What does it look like? I'm fasting.
This is not how you fast.
Oh, Cassie? Yes, it is. It's what all great athletes do. You didn't see me slowly? Pretty cool, huh?
Sure. Hey, Carl, how about you sit down? I think that's enough training for the day.
Yeah. All right, I feel good. Fasting is the best.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but I think fasting is a completely different thing.
Oh, really? Why don't you tell me why you think it is?
Fasting is when you choose not to eat or drink specific things during a certain amount of time.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure, unless you think Jesus is wrong.
What? No, Jesus is never wrong. Why would you say that?
Well, Jesus fasted.
Really? When?
Well, it says in Mark 1 that Jesus went alone into the wilderness.
That's awesome. If anyone deserves a little me time, it's Jesus.
Oh, no, Carl. Jesus didn't go into the wilderness on vacation. He went there specifically to be tempted.
Okay, pump the brakes. Why would Jesus do that to himself?
Well, Jesus knew that doing God's work was going to be very tough. Jesus went into the wilderness to pray and gather strength for what lay ahead.
Wow, I know Jesus is God's son, but man, that still had to be tough.
Yep, and while Jesus was out there, he fasted.
Cool, so he was only out there for like what, 20, 30 minutes?
40
Oh, 40? That's not that bad.
days. 40 days.
I beg your pardon?
Jesus was out there for 40 days, fasting and being tempted by the devil.
Well, what did the devil tempt Jesus with?
If you read Luke 4, we find out that the devil told Jesus to turn stones into bread, to jump off a really high place and force angels to catch Jesus, and even for Jesus to bow down and worship him.
Those are weird things to tempt someone with.
The devil knew who Jesus was and wanted to turn him against God. Of course, that didn't happen though.
Isn't that incredible? But I still can't get over how he was tempted for so long. How many times did Jesus fall into temptation or mess up?
Would you believe me if I said 0 times?
Yeah, I would.
What? What's wrong?
I guess I'm a little discouraged.
Why? This should be good news.
Good news? How? I can't even go 40 seconds without messing up. But Jesus went 40 days without falling into temptation. Jesus can go on forever. I can never do that.
Well, of course you couldn't. You're a great person, but you're not Jesus. Carl, you see, Jesus did this to give us the perfect example on how to live. And when things get rough, he told us what to do.
What did he tell us to do?
Well, he told us to give our worries to God, and Jesus shows us that he can help us.
Help us, huh? Even when we're being tempted?
Especially when we're tempted. I know Jesus helps me when I'm tempted.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Carl.
Yeah. Cassie, you are right.
Jesus helps me when I'm tempted.
He does. He does. You're so right.
Carl.
Yeah. Cassie. That's good, yeah.
Did you hear what I said?
I did. Yeah. Make me emotional. Yeah, he helps us. He helps us. That's good. That's good stuff. You're so right.
Carl.
Cassie. Oh! That's our big idea! Today's big idea is Jesus helps me when I'm tempted.
So let's say it out loud on the count of 3. Ready?
Ready?
1,
2,
3.
Jesus helps me when I'm tempted! Yeah!
So, Mr. Super Athlete, do you think you're finally finished with all your training?
Not quite. Choo-choo! Choo-choo-choo-choo! Choo-choo-choo! Get it? I'm training. Come on, Cassie. Train with me. Choo-choo! Choo-choo! Yeah! See you later, kids. Woo!
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Road TV.
Well, welcome back, St. Tim's kids. We're glad to be here again with you at St. Tim's Stadium, or is it St. Tim's Kids Stadium? That's for adults too, probably. We're having fun here. Today's lesson, we're going to do a craft with you. It has to do with the temptation of Jesus. You've probably been reading about it, hearing about it. And Jesus was tempted, as we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk a little bit about temptation. We're going to play a game today, or make a craft, where we want to take some of the temptations that we have in our lives, things that we know are wrong, but somehow we all get drawn to them. And they're different for different people. We have different needs, different likes, and certain things will tempt us. And so what we're going to do is write down that temptation on a piece of paper, and we're going to give it to God, give it to Jesus to take it away. We need His help to avoid that temptation. So what we're going to do, and you might have done this, and I know when we've had St. Tim's kids in classes together, there's a lot of you that are really expert paper folders. We remember you were really good at making paper airplanes.
Origami.
And a lot of you already know how to make these awesome little footballs, because we remember them flying over our heads when we weren't looking. So that is something we're going to allow you to make today, and we're going to have some fun. So what we're going to do is, you all should have, maybe you have the instructions at home, but you don't really need them. Simple. Start with a nice 8.5 by 11. Is that it? Yeah, standard piece of paper. We're going to fold it in half and fold it in half again. We're going to cut it so it's a thin strip like this. So the long ways twice. We're going to show you how to do that in a moment. And then what you're going to do is take the piece of paper and with a crayon or a pen, write down that temptation that you're feeling. Sometimes you feel a lot. Especially in sports. I'm thinking maybe we could give them some examples of when we have temptations when we play sports. Don't know if some of you might play soccer, baseball, gymnastics. There's lots of different sports. Golf's a big one now because we're allowed to go out and golf during this shutdown time. But you might think of some things that are temptations in our lives. What's a good example, Miss Leslie, of something we might be tempted to do?
Well, if you maybe swung at the ball and the umpire called it a strike, but you really didn't swing all the way, you would argue and be tempted to maybe lie about what really happened.
Lying. So lying might be a word you want to write down on the paper. Another example in sports that I think sometimes we're tempted to do because we're all about winning for some reason. I don't know why. We want to win. We really don't like losing, even though it really sometimes doesn't matter. It's just for fun. But this word, cheating, we're probably tempted to cheat in games, unfortunately. We see that even with adults, professionals want to cheat. And then sometimes when someone does something wrong, one of the things we might want to do is get even with them. That can be a temptation, that we want to go and we don't like being hurt or picked on or whatever, and getting even. So there's lots of different ideas. These are just some of them. We're going to show you in a minute how to fold them up into the football. And then we're going to play a little game to take those temptations and send them off to Jesus. All right, guys. Well, hopefully now you've made yourselves your little footballs. And here at St. Tim's Kids Stadium, we have this awesome goalpost already. But if you don't have one, you can make your own. We thought you could take just 2 water bottles and stack up a set of books, put them on as ends. That'll work just fine too. So whatever you have, we want to now take that temptation that we've wrapped up and we're going to send to God. And remember Jesus, the story you heard about him being tempted in the desert. We know that Jesus understands temptation. He survived that. He was being tempted by Satan. Satan was lying to him, asking him to do all sorts of things. Jesus was hungry, thirsty. He said, go ahead, turn these rocks into bread. And even promised him false promises. So that's the thing about temptation. It can kind of lead us down the road to things that are really lies and not truth. So we're very grateful that Jesus can help us avoid those temptations if we really ask him to. And there's a prayer I know we say usually at church on Sunday. Do you remember the one?
The Lord's Prayer.
The Lord's Prayer, Our Father sometimes it's called. And in that there's a line that says, and lead us not into temptation. So again, we're asking God every day to help us with something that's a human trait that we all are tempted. So let's see if we can get these through the goalposts and send them off to God for removing our temptation. Now the football, you guys can try many different ways. You can have it placed with the little point facing there, and using your finger, we're going to try to flick it. Whoa! Almost hit the production assistant over there. And another way, let's see if Miss Leslie's going to get it right through there. Okay, another way, she's got to stretch those hamstrings out. Another way is to take the football and turn it with the tiny end down. And that way you can try it as well. Let's see if that'll work for you.
I've been stretching.
You've been stretching. Here we go. Up and okay. There's been no damage to the equipment, but you get the idea. We're taking our temptations and sending them off to the Lord. That one almost went out the building. So we would love it if you guys have a chance and you make your temptation. You fold it up into the football. If you could take a picture of it or even a video and send it to Miss Emily at St. Tim's, because we would all love to see what you're doing, what you're working on, and we hope that you really take some time to think about the fact that God, Jesus, can help us avoid those temptations. We'll see you next time.
Jesus, thank you for knowing what it's like to be tempted. Our struggle with temptation is very real, but you are here to help us with them. We believe you. We believe you can help us with everything at all times, including when we are tempted. Amen.